What's up, everybody? On today's episode of the Hashtag Blackout Podcast, we are both back and at it again. It's been far too long, Jay, far too long since we've been together on this show. And just happy to be back. So, yeah, we'll just get into all the stuff, all this and more on today's episode of the Hashtag Blackout Podcast. What's up? Welcome back, and welcome back to episode 156 of the Hashtag Blackout Podcast. I'm Jared.
What up, people? I'm Jay.
Man, and we are back and at it again, finally.
Yes.
Wow, it's been far too long. Jay, how have you been doing, cousin?
Same old, just work. Kids finally out for the summertime, so... Mm-hmm. But I am not out for the summertime. I still got to work. But they are doing summer school type stuff, just to keep their academics on track for the next school semester. Because I know we will probably not be in school because we got certain people, certain lawmakers that just don't want to listen and kind of putting everybody in jeopardy. But there are certain people that just don't want to listen and putting everybody in jeopardy, so we can't really get ourselves back on track. Mm-hmm. But yeah, that's about it.
Makes sense.
Not much more I could say. How have What's up?
I was going to ask you, are you still working from home?
Still working from home. My the CEO has no plans for us to try and return soon because our business has been doing fine without us being in the building, so he's not rushing us back anytime soon, so it's cool with me.
I think that's interesting, that there's still companies that are doing that. Obviously, I mean, for obvious reasons, still doing that, and it totally makes sense to not yet. But then also, I think sometimes I think of on the business side, they either own the building or they're renting the building, right. And that's less air conditioner, that's less electricity, et cetera, water they have to pay for. So I think for them they may have like a savings in it, even though they're still obviously paying their employees to do the work, and they're still performing the tasks that they're supposed to. It might be one of those things. And I've seen a lot of companies like that are like, all right, well this department or XYZ departments, they're just going to be work from home, from now on, unless we decide otherwise. And so the Mrs. J, has she been working from home the whole time too?
She does her day-to-day work from home. The exact same stuff she did when she was at her physical place of employment. Her schedule has changed now from 5 days a week to 4 days a week, but 4 10-hour days. But she's, she's perfectly fine with it. She gets an extra day off to do nothing. So, I have a question for you. So have either of you had to go into the office for anything, like go in to pick up paperwork or a laptop or anything else? Let's see. I mean, in the very beginning, maybe early March, I think it was, I went into, what the heck did I go get? I think I went to pick up my laptop. So I did that. She's gone probably one other time just to pick up a couple little miscellaneous things out of our office, like a lamp or something, She had to go pick up her computer. That was in early March as well. But, other than that, we hadn't been back. Yeah. Don't need anything. So.
That makes sense. Well, good, man. That's good to hear. And homeschooling, all that stuff went well for you guys or not so much? What do you think? I mean,
It's weird because I think the last time we had talked in early March, maybe, or sometime in March.
Mid-March. Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, I mean, the school was still trying to figure out I guess they hadn't really planned on trying to figure something out online.
Mm-hmm.
Eventually they got something situated, but it was just, I don't know, man. It was I don't think they'd be learning the exact same. They'd get the same type of instruction as them being physically in the classroom. That's
Mm-hmm.
that's the obvious thing. Obviously they both passed, which is
Yeah,
good. I mean, all they really
that's
had to
good.
do was log in and take a couple online tests, if you want to call
Yeah,
it that, little
yeah.
electronic tests.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, but that's pretty much the big thing right there. I mean, trying to get them to focus is the main thing, because we don't have like a
Yeah,
dedicated room for them to just sit in and with no distractions.
yeah.
I
Okay,
have
yeah,
one sitting in one room, but there's like a million toys in there, and one sitting in another room where he could do whatever he wants to because he has a tablet
yeah,
in front of
yeah,
his face, so he could be slick and log on to YouTube or something like that, and
yeah,
and we wouldn't know because we're focused on our job.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, other than that, it was okay. The summer program they're in now is almost the same thing. They pretty much just do like an hour a day of work online, reading, some
Mm-hmm.
math packets and stuff like that. Yeah, and that's about it, man. Not much more. How did your little ones get through it?
Yeah. Well, I guess I would say they got through it.
Yeah.
A, um, they one one was a lot more agreeable than the other, even though they a lot more, yeah, a lot more agreeable to get through the work and do the work, get on, log on, and do all the stuff than the other.
Right. Right.
Because I think one of the kids teacher gave one of my kids teachers gave her like, I don't know, at least like 2 hours of work per day, 3 hours of work per day, and it's just worksheets and writing and stuff,
Mm-hmm.
or going online and being on a certain program online for X amount of time.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so that became monotonous, but she plugged through it, even though she didn't want to do it. She plugged through it, and but and then the other one, the teacher initially started out giving work, a lot more work, and I guess more stressing the importance of getting it all done.
Mm-hmm.
And then like as everything progressed and you got into May and late April and May, the teacher was like, I'm just going to give you like one or two assignments. So it should have been a lot easier, but I think that kid lost the motivation
Yeah.
in early April, and so it was but okay, so I'll tell you this. So when the shutdown happened,
Mm-hmm.
teachers had like 2 days to go in and figure out online learning. And they figured it out. They had, sort of initially like a stumble through approach, but they had it sort of fleshed out, enough to work. Uh, and so initially I think it was like fun, and the kids had like maybe 2 weeks before they had their spring break.
Mm-hmm.
So it was like fun for them, and, they could see their friends online, blah, blah, blah. But then as that carried on, the novelty wore off.
Right.
Spring break happened, and then like after that, nobody really wanted to do anything. So, like I said, one of my kids was easier than the other, or at least more agreeable than the other, even though she didn't like to do it. But so I'll tell you, man, on our side, it was a struggle trying to wake up every day and get the kids through their work.
Yeah.
To get them to start it, to get them to do it without a battle. Um,
Yeah.
it was rough, and I don't know, I don't know how many other people had the same battle, but it was a battle because you have,
Yeah. I'm
I don't know, I
I'm
don't know.
sure there's a lot of parents that could, that understand that statement, because I understand it quite well, because my
Yeah.
kids, they became totally lazy, and I'm
Oh yeah.
just straight up honest. they became super lazy during this whole time. They
Yeah.
didn't want to do nothing. It was bad, man. I
Yeah.
probably had to fuss and yell and all kind of other stuff so many times. I don't like
Yeah.
yelling. I don't like fussing with my kids. I practically wiped out the whole room, so there was no toys in there.
Yeah.
They couldn't do anything. They just got some toys back a couple days ago. At least my oldest did, because he's
Yeah.
kind of like yours, kind of defiant. He doesn't want to do what he's supposed to do. He, talks back.
Yeah.
All that stuff, that you're saying.
Yeah.
So I'm not having it with it. So with him, so I'm starting to take stuff away.
Yeah.
I mean, I could be like my dad and just bring the belt out and start whipping and carrying on like that. But I don't know, man. It's a different. This generation is just completely different than ours.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
I was, and all that, like we did the same thing. We did a lot of, taking away, whatever kind of privileges, whether it be game privileges or playing on a tablet or whatever it is. But I think that the one problem that we had with all of this is, which is a blessing. I mean, we moved into a new home 10 days before this started, give or take. And then all of a sudden we're in quarantine lockdown. We are trying to get through boxes and set up stuff in the house. All the while trying to teach these kids. And, I'm searching for employment, at the time and trying to run the other business that I have at the time. And my wife's job is just like, we're shut down, don't come in, blah, blah, blah. So the problem that we had was, in March in Utah, it's still cold. So it still snows and the ground's not warm enough, for stuff to start growing really for the most part. Mm-hmm. So we had dirt. We had dirt in the front yard and backyard,
Right.
We couldn't get outside. So there was nothing for the kids to really go out and do if they even were going to go outside, but because it was muddy, snowy, all the dance video challenges and all this other fun stuff.
Yeah.
My kids they didn't want to do that. They didn't want to do it. We watched movies and shows and stuff like that, but that was about it. So we had to take away some of those privileges, but it became even a bigger battle because then it was like nothing, and yeah, I sort of echo your same sentiment. I am normally a super calm, cool, and collected person when it comes to my kids, and I think this situation brought me took me the wrong direction. You know what I'm saying? And I was yelling a lot, and it's definitely negative impact, on the relationship with the kids, but that's as far as I took it. Like I didn't go with the belt or anything like that, like our parents did. And I think that's just the way that we've been trying to find an alternative way to discipline them. And now, we've gotten, now into June and,
Mm-hmm.
and, it's everybody's routine is so jacked up that, we're not waking up, at like 8 a.m. or 9 a.m. anymore. We're waking up at like 10, 1. There has been some 1 o'clock wake ups, like 1 o'clock, but that's also because, or like wake up at like noon and then like actually roll out of bed closer to 1.
Wow.
And, so I think the roll out of bed, like range has been like anywhere between, 9 a.m. and 1 p.m. Yeah. And the other factor mixed in here, like the last like month and a half, is my dog, which it's like 90 something years old in dog years. This little dog will wake up anywhere between, well, earlier in the process, he woke up at like 4 or 4:30 in the morning. And then here lately it's been like 5:30 or a little after 6 in the morning, waking up to want to go out to the restroom and come back in and eat. And the problem is his teeth are so bad, we can't just give him dry food to graze on. We have to feed him wet food. Damn. Because he can't like chew, right?
Damn. So he is real old.
So he's like just so needy. And so that's messed up our sleep schedule because, getting to bed at like, 1 a.m. or 2 a.m., some of these nights, right, depending on what's going on. at least me and the wife, and him trying to wake up at like 5, like just really jacking up the schedule, because then you wake up at 5, go put him out, feed him, and he's like a huffy puffy, crotchety old man, and and then try to lay back down for a little bit, and it messes up your sleep. So you lay back down and you try to sleep for like a couple more hours, and it's just jacked everything up. So I think our schedules have been really, messed up. And I think, with that, it's just played a negative mental toll on us all. And, we're just trying to find our way back to, a more normal situation. And so Texas, I know that, here recently, Texas has had like more of a spike in cases, and it may be due, I don't know. And I think Utah has as well. And I think some of it's due to the protests. Some of it's due to, I think a larger part is probably due to like reopening portions of the state.
I think that's exactly it.
Yeah.
They, right when they started saying, "Oh, we're going to do phase 1 opening," I'm like, "Oh shit, here we go." Nothing was going down. I don't know why they thought opening up. I mean, I could understand. People need to get. Families need money. They need to get back to work. I could totally understand that, but it's just one of those things where you're rushing to get back to some type of normalcy, and you're not really thinking it all the way through.
Yeah, very true. Very true. And I think I think Utah was more cautious, but I think initially Utah was not. Our number of cases was not as high a percentage as other parts in the country. So I think that's why they, I think it was like in earlier in May, like mid-May maybe, or early May. I can't no through April. Earlier in May they decided to that first week of May they decided to, go down to what is it from red level to orange level. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. And I know my wife went out to the store for the first time, then like went to Target for like the first time during the whole thing. And she was like, there were so many people, it was crazy, Yeah. And then, now we are going down to a yellow level. So people are, acting like everything is just back to normal again. But this past couple of weeks, we've seen like quite a spike in cases. As opposed to before. And the other thing is, it's interesting because I guess if you go to different parts of your state, I think every part is handling it differently. Because like, in the Salt Lake area where we are, it's still like, obviously it's a very populous area. So, everything can get, I guess you can catch, whatever, you can transmit, a lot easier probably here than out in the country. Well, I know at the end of May, beginning of June, no, what am I talking about? Sometime in May, end of May, we went to St. George, Utah, which is, south of here. It's like, basically like the last city before you get into Nevada/Arizona. But it's sort of more of like a vacation town, and we stayed at my mother-in-law's place for a few days, and it's totally different there. It felt like more people were out, less people were taking precautions, et cetera. But it's also a town that isn't much more than like, a few, like 20,000 or 30,000. I can't remember. Yeah. It's not even that big. So, and that's just 4 hours away. So I guess, it's probably different everywhere. But I definitely think, reopening, there's a lot of lawmakers who decided to reopen too soon. They listened to all the people who were protesting about trying to reopen sooner than later. And it makes sense, the stimulus check, whatever that we've gotten has been
just a one-time thing.
Yeah. It was a good one-time thing, but they basically painted every family with the same paintbrush and said, you get 2,000, you get 2,000, you get 2,000, but all these families are in three different categories of need. So I think that also contributed to it, having to reopen. So it's been, I don't know, man. It's been a wild ride, and it's continuing to go. Now we have a second wave that's starting to hit parts of the country, and and everybody's like, well, there's like a good, portion of people, which when I go to the grocery store, I still see, a lot of people now that aren't wearing masks,
Oh, dude. I went to Walmart this morning, and I'd say over half the people in there did not have masks on, like as far as customers. And I don't get why most people want to wear masks below their nose.
yeah,
I mean, can't you still get some type of particle going up your nose? I mean, why can't
definitely,
people understand that?
definitely, definitely. They think it's all between they say it's like the droplets, that you get, but you're still inhaling and
Yeah.
exhaling droplets or whatever through your nose. Maybe it's like the sneezing. I know obviously the mask, all the masks aren't going to, all the types of masks won't protect you necessarily, but they can definitely help, slow getting anything, and you're probably more breathing your own germs than anybody else's germs, which makes sense. But yeah, I think that's totally pointless. Totally pointless. And yeah, man, and I think there's stores here that have implemented, and I think I've heard even Walmart, even though I haven't been to Walmart in a while, has implemented a one direction only per aisle.
Yeah, I saw that, and that didn't work.
Yeah.
That doesn't work.
I think it works. I guess it depends on the store you go to, but I think it works to a point. But also, if you go down the aisle and you just need to go like, a third of the way into the aisle, you don't really want to go all the way. You know what I'm saying? So yeah. So
I mean, walking through today, you see the little directional arrows, like, walk this way and,
mhm.
for shopping and whatnot. People didn't care. They're
Yeah,
walking every direction.
yeah, that's the problem.
So, and a lot of times they didn't even put the little arrows in the right spot. You could be walking down the aisle and you get halfway and then you see the arrow and it's like, oh, I was supposed to be walking this way.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah, I think when it all started and I started going to the store then, I was like really annoyed with people who were walking the wrong direction on the aisle because I was like, dude, like like just follow a simple instruction. It's not gonna hurt you. And they walk all the way down the aisle to get to something at the end. And I'm like, you could have gone down the next aisle, which is the direction you're supposed to be going, and grab that thing at the end. Uh,
Yep.
or passing close by. I think this is my thing, man. This has been my thing the whole time. I think is I am not as worried about myself and how my family's handling it. I'm worried about like all the other people who aren't handling it, like aren't being serious about it.
Right.
I think that's the problem. So I don't know. And obviously we have a lot more data now than when it started. But still it's a threat to everybody out there. And I know people on this train. So I have a question for you. So some people are like, I don't want to get it. I just want to try to steer clear from it as much as I can. And some people are like, I just want to get it already and get it over with.
Yeah, that's definitely not me.
No, and I'm like, and I think my wife is more on that side. She's like, well, I'd just much rather we just get it and get it over with. I'm like, why would you want to get sick with anything?
Nah, because you never know. I didn't say this the last time I was on, but I lost one of my old buddies because of this virus.
Yeah,
He died, caught it, and died.
yeah,
So I don't want to get it at all. I have
yeah,
two people in my immediate family now, my son and my wife, who have like breathing issues. So
yeah,
why do I want to like kind of bring that to them
exactly.
and kind of risk them going through something bad? It's
Yeah,
not just, apparently it's not just people with pre-existing conditions.
everybody. Yeah,
It's not just old people who have the the that get that die from this. It's everybody could catch it. Everybody, there's no telling what this virus can do
hmm
to you if you get
yeah,
it.
Yeah, that's the thing, and I'm sorry, for your loss. I know a few people who've had it and gotten over it seemingly. I also know, a few people who have passed, a couple people who've passed from it as well, and it's just one of those things. I think I've always just been on the train of like why would you want to just get sick just to get sick? Like it doesn't make any sense. And on our side, we're fortunate enough that our mother, my mother-in-law lives nearby, and my wife's grandfather, who's like in his 90s, also lives here, and so we've interacted with my mother-in-law since the beginning. She's been to our house, we've been to her house, some of those times since the beginning. If you know her, like that her house is like spotless, clean all the time. She is like a super, clean person. So yeah, so we didn't have any trepidation really about hanging out with her or doing stuff with her. And she's by herself, so she also wanted to, to come and just be somewhere else, not just in her house. But then she also, shops for and goes and has lunch with a couple times a week with my wife's grandfather, who's 90 something, and he's been just in his house the whole time. Yeah. I don't think he's left at all. But we're like, we wouldn't want to get sick or bring somebody in, that would get sick, exactly. And then potentially pass it on to the mother-in-law to pass on to the grandfather. So,
yeah, it's like my parents are trying to keep asking, when are we going to come? When are we coming this summer? Oh, it's not too bad down here. I'm like, nah, we'll see. I ain't making no plans yet to go visit y'all because I don't want to bring anything. Mm-hmm. And, I'm sure there'll be multiple stops along the way. I don't know what people are carrying at these gas stations and whatever. So,
yeah, when we went on our trip to St. George, as a 4-hour drive normally, we made one stop in the middle to let the dog go pee and to like grab like a bite, but we did not get out the car. Right. And so you stop along the way in the middle at one of these country towns, at like a Dairy Queen or something like that, you're just getting food, but like, how are these people handling it? And then obviously you have people traveling, from place to place, going through this place too. So yeah, so I definitely get that. Definitely get that. Yeah. It's just, I don't know. It's a game and I don't know if I said this on the last episode that I was on, but my mom was supposed to come here on April 2nd. She had retired, and then she was supposed to come up here and visit us for like a week. And obviously she wasn't able to do that. She decided to cancel her trip. And, it's not like, and she was going to fly up here. So, it's not like it's like a drive, you know what I'm saying? It's like a close drive. It's like a couple days drive. So, that's gone by the wayside. And so now we've stopped asking the question, when are we going to come down and visit, or when she's going to come up and visit? It's just like, all still up in the air, and it's a big, I don't know, Yeah. And she's in the age range too of potentially being in, at risk, at higher risk. So it's crazy, man.
Yep.
It's crazy. Wow. But, during this time, as you said on the last episode you recorded, we celebrated an anniversary as a podcast. So happy anniversary there. Yes, sir. But then also, you had a birthday. So happy way belated birthday on that. Even though I did send you a message on your birthday, I believe. Yeah.
Gracias. Thank you.
Yeah, man, just a lot of craziness has gone down. So, and speaking of craziness, I mean, I'll just let you go ahead and lead into some of the more recent happenings because we haven't had a chance to comment on it.
Well, I know last episode the last one I recorded, Ahmaud Arbery was killed. And then a week later, we get Breonna Taylor, and then we get George Floyd. And those are just two of the names that stand out because I've been reading there's a lot more that have had run-ins with, police, and they have been killed by police. And these particular incidences have pretty much been the catalyst to the start of, a whole movement across the world.
Mm-hmm.
It's just hard for me to talk about because I'm just tired of seeing this. I'm tired of looking at all the news coverage about it. I mean, it's like I said, it's something that's changing the world right now, but I'm just tired of, our people getting killed like that. I really had no words. I couldn't even do my work straight when
Yeah.
saw the video of George Floyd. That's the one that kind of put me over the edge. I couldn't even, like I said, I couldn't do anything. I didn't want to talk to my family. I just pretty much stayed to myself for a couple of days. Didn't feel like talking.
Yeah.
And it just hurt, man. I'm just tired of seeing this type of stuff.
Yeah. Same here, man. I like, this is what is so crazy. Like, okay, so during this whole quarantine craziness, lockdown, stay in your house. Like I said, initially it was cold outside, and I'm not like a snow runner. Like, I'm not that type of guy. Like, I'd much rather walk outside when it's warmer outside. So like, we couldn't get out then. And then the Ahmaud Arbery thing, which is, horrible, obviously, the George Floyd incident, and then the ensuing protests and riots and everything that is happening, has happened after that. I live in a state where the percentage of, people of color, specifically African Americans, is way lower than the percentage of the state that you live in, or, et cetera. So me wanting to go, and I told my wife this, I was like, me wanting to go for a walk by myself.
Yeah.
Like, I couldn't even fathom to try to do that, right? Because there's some trails here that sort of like cut between, homes, like behind, like the backyards of homes, and some trails that are like right on the main roads.
Yeah.
And me also living now in a new area that I'm not completely familiar with. All of this is sort of led me to freak out. So all the things that I might have probably done then, I'm like, if I go, I want to bring a child with me, one of my kids with me. Maybe people think, will be less, on guard, or even like walk with my wife, who is white, so maybe people will be less on guard then, but still it just freaked me out, and seeing the protests and the riots, obviously knowing that the protests are people are protesting for positive things. And then there's rioters, who we've now found out who, were just trying to make, not even a part of the protest. When that was happening, you saw like the truth come out of people that on Facebook and people that you don't know. And I'm like, I don't want to
mention that. Yep.
I don't want to go for a walk or like anything like that by myself, right, and end up as a, as a statistic like that or whatever.
Correct. Yeah, that's exactly how my wife was. I just recently bought a mountain bike, probably like maybe a month ago or so. Mm-hmm. And I didn't even want to take it out. I mean, there's couple mornings I wanted to go for a ride, but then my wife, she's like, no, you don't need to go. She's scared for me, doing that. I took the kids fishing last week. She wanted to come because she's not trusting anything that if anybody sees me, because I take them to like I don't want to call it a rich neighborhood, but a lot of these big lakes and stuff have big lake houses around, more high dollar houses and stuff. She's like, no, I need to come with you just in case something happens.
Yeah.
And, it's, man, and like you said, you definitely see people's true colors come out, on Facebook and online. Those people that you are Facebook friends, my air quotes are Facebook friends, you kind of see how they think, what they think about these particular things. And it's troubling, man. I honestly, I deleted quite a few people, from my Facebook, friends list.
Yeah.
Just because the way they were talking, man. I don't know. Have you had the opportunity to talk with your kids about what's going on?
Yeah, I think the weekend after, or like a few days after, the video of George Floyd that happened, was out. I know my son saw it on YouTube somehow. I don't know how, but he did. And so he had like a pretty emotional response to it. And we did too. And like literally just before that, like I was talking to my wife. Like I said, she's white, so I was talking to her. We're trying to, she was like, "How do we talk to him about that?" And like it's not like we haven't had any kind of little like small or large conversation about that with both of our kids in the past. Right. This was just so graphic and so timely that we're not talking about stuff that both of our parents went through. We're talking about something that this kid is seeing right here, right now. Yeah. So we had an emotional discussion, one night at prayer time, and just talked to the kids about this and was like, this is reality, man. It is what it is, and we talked to them about it, and they had questions, and I think my older kid, my son, understood it a lot more. Sort of understood a lot more than my daughter, and the problem with that is, which I've talked about on a past show, is he has had racist comments and stuff like that hurled at him right. through basketball. When he was on a team a while back, and I think through the Boy Scouts, and then also the predominant religion here is Mormon. So people who aren't Mormon, sometimes are ostracized, by other kids in class or something like that. So, he's had to deal with that. So I think he understood it a lot more, from that standpoint. But, we're still just like, this is the type of stuff that's going on. And, Dad, me, I've had to deal with that, and it's a thing. So, that's why, and our kids think that we're being like Karens, you know what I'm saying? Think that we're being like really super strict on them, with what we have going, while we're trying to keep everybody in house and like not trying to go and like socialize with anybody. But, right. And this is one of and this is another reason that is making it difficult. We would love for you to go out and play on your own, but. Right. But, they got a bunch of fools out here, who still don't understand just to love somebody or treat somebody just like they would want to be treated, or their family, they want to treat their own family. Right. So we've had that talk, and I don't know how I know your kids are a couple years younger, like, yeah, in the same range though, but.
Yeah, I mean, we've been having the talk for quite some time, over the years and whatnot. And I give my wife all the credit because she's able to communicate with them a lot better about this type of stuff, than I am. Yeah. I feel like my oldest, I don't think they fully understand everything that's going on. They see something bad, they know it's bad. They know that this particular incident is bad, but I don't think they fully understand about, I guess, racism and, just what Black people have had to endure over time. My youngest doesn't, and this is like the sad part. This is the hard part for me. My youngest doesn't even think, I don't want to say think he's Black. I guess he feels he's not Black. He's so young. He's at that innocent stage where my skin is brown. It's not black. Your skin is brown. You're not Black. Yeah. He's at that particular stage right now. So he doesn't truly understand about, I guess, colorism and racism and, that particular thing. So I know it's going to be, it's going to be a little difficult for him, as well as probably your kids, having both of ours mixed race kids. Yeah. They have to deal with three different cultures, I guess.
Yeah.
My wife was saying how when she grew up, like her, like her Asian side, like they kind of didn't accept her in a sense because I
Mm-hmm.
guess she didn't look like her mom,
Yeah.
and then of course she didn't really grow up around, I guess, her dad's side of the family, so I can't really speak on how they may act or treat her. But then of course where she grew up around a lot of black folks, and I guess they had some of them, not all of them, because all of her best friends are black. Some of them thought she was just the pretty bright skinned black girl,
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
they had issues with that. So I mean, it's something that I'm just gonna have to keep on trying to talk
Yeah.
to them about, not really drill it into them because I don't want them to get like scared about it.
Mm-hmm.
But it's I don't know, man. It's just one of those things I'm just gonna have to keep on reiterating
Yeah. Yeah.
to them.
Yeah. I think that's what I think. Well, first of all, I think that's weird. Odd in Louisiana that that black people would have a issue with a light skinned black person because that's a lot of black people.
It's everywhere.
But
It's
yeah,
not just Louis. It's everywhere, bro.
yeah, I know. Yeah, it's one of those things. And yeah, your wife, she does look like she would be a light skinned black lady. So yeah, so that makes sense. But yeah,
And
I
of
can.
course, she gets here, and then it's weird because people, like, since we're in Texas,
I think she
a
may be
lot of the
Mexican.
population is Hispanic, yeah. So they get here, and then some of the Hispanic people would have issues with her because she didn't speak Spanish.
Yeah,
So they think
yeah,
she's Spanish, and she does. She's like, no.
yeah. Which
So
is which is also funny because I had a lot of I guess I had a lot of friends who were Hispanic growing up in Texas, but they didn't. I guess they knew like slang Spanish. They didn't know book Spanish. So I always thought that was odd. But yeah, I get you, man. It's weird, man. I know it's something that we haven't talked about every day with our kids, but we've definitely talked about it, and we talked about the history. We talk about the history of it. We talk about what to do if you are stopped by a cop. I mean, even this age, they're still way too young to drive, but walking down the street, if you're stopped by a cop, like all this stuff. Um, um, so or if you're approached by somebody you don't know, and you're walking down the street, like what you need to do and how you need to try to go to the nearest safe place, et cetera. So there's a lot of stuff that we talk about, we mention, and yeah, it's one of those things. Like it has to be a balance of either trying to drill it into them or trying to just tell them enough that they know it, but not, like you said, not make them like terrified of not make them totally terrified just to go outside, I guess.
right.
But yeah, man, I echo like what you said way back when, you were to yourself, you didn't want to talk to your family or anybody. Yeah, man, it was one of those things, like for a few days, few days, you wanted to look and see, you were seeing how people really are reacting on the Facebooks and the Instagrams, all these people who are your friends or whatever,
Yeah.
acquaintances. And so, initially, how you want to react. And how you have to react. But I think I take it even a step, in a different direction, because me as a small business owner, and now I'm selling to some stores, seeing some posts from people who I sell to at those stores, who are like the salespeople
Right.
at the stores, seeing some posts from them that are not even like consciously supportive. Like even if they would, like just basically like, saying that they understand, like not even that, like totally on the opposite side and totally thinking it's all stupid and totally,
Yeah.
don't believe in just, overall human decency. I'm just like, for me, and I talked to my wife about this too. I was like, this is a post from somebody that I know that I have to sell stuff to all the time, right?
Right.
Do I stop doing business with them because of this? you know, because they are, being opposite. Like they are being opposite from the way that, they're opposite of than what my sentiment is.
Yeah.
Like, and I mean, me as the business owner, I guess I can make that decision 100% if I want to, regardless.
Right.
But is that going to hurt my business, in the long run, because it's there for my family too,
Yeah.
Or I don't know. I think it's a weird thing. Or are we playing, are we just trying to play the game of like, this is business, that's all it is. This person happens to be on your friends list. Do I just delete them? I don't know.
Right. Understand, man. I know it's a tough decision. It's a tough decision. You're gonna have to make. Wow. Yeah. So, shit. What was I gonna ask? So I asked myself this question around the time of watching that video, and I asked you, if you were in that position, not in the position of George Floyd, but somebody on the side, a bystander, would you have jumped in to help him, or would you just stay on the side looking, videotaping maybe?
Yeah, that's a great question. And it's one that, I've thought about it, but this is the thing, man. Being a black person in America, you try to jump in, you immediately know that you're going to get a gun pulled on you, or you're going to get beat down with the stick, and you'll be arrested. You'll be the next one with the knee, with getting pinned down. It's as a black person in America, it is hard to for me to say I would do that, because I'm thinking of my family. I'm thinking of everything else. But then, hard for me to say that I would jump in, but then it's hard for me to say that I would sit there and do nothing as well. Right. I think the person that videotaped it, obviously, was a courageous person to be able to do that. I don't know how many people were watching, the situation unfold, but, if only there had been someone else who called in to the police and was like, I think this policeman is using excessive force, 3 guys are pinning down one guy who is handcuffed. I might have been more on that side, because I have called the police before in certain situations where I've seen stuff happen and I didn't necessarily jump in to stop it. But I have, I saw, seemed like a domestic dispute. I was over there, not that far from where you live right now, at a gas station, walking back to my car, and saw like this mom and, it seemed to be mom and dad like yelling at each other, or this mom and this guy yelling at each other. And then the guy took the kid, tossed the kid in his car and took off. And then the mom took off after him. And so I sort of drove after him at a distance. And I was I called the police. I was like, hey, I just saw this happen. I don't know what happened after that, but saw that. And then, a few months ago, I was going to pick up, some supplies, and saw this little kid who looked like he was all of 5 years old, walking down the sidewalk on a busy street, completely alone, no adults anywhere around. And I mean, this street is a large street in the city, a rush hour street, all this stuff. And people drive up and down the street, at 60 miles per hour, even though the speed limit's maybe 45 at the most. So I went and tried to talk to the kid while I was on the phone with the police, trying to get them to come and find out where this kid's parents are. And I wasn't trying to get up to the kid and approach him, or, anything closer than a couple arms length away, just trying to assure him that I was not trying to mess with him. But, I called the cops in that situation. So I think that, and apparently the kid got back safely to his house. But which wasn't nearby, by the way. But, I think in the situation, I probably would have tried to make that call, and then sadly it probably would have been too late, by the time somebody actually got there. What about you, man?
I mean, my strong gut instinct, first feeling tells me to go pull that cop off no matter what. I mean, that's my gut. That's the first thing I'm thinking of.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Saving this dude, because I've seen it happen too many times where, this turns out bad.
Mm-hmm.
But then, like you said, on the flip side, I was telling my wife this, and she was like saying the same thing you said. She's like, no, you need to be here for us because you already know the result of that.
Yeah.
You're going to be the one that is in the news and people are talking about you being killed, so yeah, it's one of those situations where I don't know what to do. And like you said, if you end up calling, just to report some type of police misconduct or something like that, it could probably be too late. By the time somebody comes and reacts to it. Yeah, man, it's oof. That's something that's been like swirling around in my mind since seeing that. It's like, what would I do in that situation?
Yeah. It definitely makes sense, man. And I guess, that's definitely a question to pose to people out there, like what would they do in that situation? It's unfortunate, obviously highly unfortunate that had to happen, and unfortunate that we're even having this, this conversation about that. But, it's something that you gotta know. And the other thing is, I don't know, I'd be interested to hear, have you been contacted by any of your friends that aren't black to like learn about our struggle?
Nope. Not at all. Dude, I work with all white people. Mm-hmm. Not one single person has like just asked how are you doing?
Yeah.
No, nobody.
Yeah.
Nobody said, how are you doing?
Just
those few little words.
Yeah.
Nobody has said anything.
Okay. I'm gonna tell you something about the words, how are you doing? I thank you and appreciate you for asking me that several times during my hiatus. When I was in the midst of, probably more of a mental health, snafu, than anything, on top of all the other stuff dealing with, trying to like wrap my brain just around like life at the time. So I appreciate you checking in with me, every so often. But yeah, I'll tell you this. Okay, so here in the state, like I said, less black people. Part of the neighborhood. I'm part of the neighborhood Facebook page, the neighborhood we used to live in, and I've seen a lot of support on there from a lot of people who aren't people of color, and a lot of support from people who are Mexican or the few black people that live there, et cetera, and so that's been interesting. And then also, one of my friends from college, who was one of my, closest friends from college, this lady reached out to me and right, like maybe like the Monday or so after the protest started, and was like, hey, I'm white. I don't know the first thing. I'm sitting here in my house, in the middle of suburbia watching all this stuff happen. And I have my kids who are seeing this, and I'm just trying to figure out, how to talk to them about it. I'm trying to figure out how I'm supposed to react and what I need to know and what I need to do. And, since like everybody around me is the same color, I'm trying to reach out to, a couple of my closest friends from school, that she was around, that she knows, how to talk to about this stuff or knows to try to learn, and so, we had a back and forth, Facebook Messenger conversation. And, one of the first things I was like, well, thanks for reaching out, that's what I said. And I was like, thanks for reaching out and trying to just learn and try. And this person, like, as far from when I remember, she played sports. So she was around a lot of different people of, different, of color and other people of, different race and same race. And, she even had, at my college, there weren't that many. The percentage of black people was low, but still, she still had friends, that were like that. So I was just happy that, somebody did. And I tried to give her a little bit of history, try to give her a little bit of like, sort of what we've going through or I'm going through, what I've gone through, and try to give her a couple of resources of like, this is the type of stuff you need to seek out, stuff that's like speaking truth about the issues, true history about the issues, et cetera. And, also learn about like, what, not you as a white person, but like, maybe your ancestors or whatever have sort of brought to this and why it's still going on. And, obviously ask questions, from people who you trust that would give you honest answers. And that's, one of the ways to go about it. So I was just impressed with that. I think that was the only person who truly reached out. Well, actually, there was another guy who wanted to promote my products, who's a white guy who always has been, always has seemed to be on the right side of the discussion. And he reached out like that, and I was, appreciative of that. But yeah, I wanted to know, since where you at and obviously where you work, had you got anything like that? But it doesn't sound like it. So,
Nope.
Yeah.
Screwed up. So.
And it's not only about, Black Lives Mattering, but it's, all the other intangibles that we are, voices, creativity, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Is what matters. And you know what? I have to tell you this. I saw an article posted in the TCU fan book page, which is, on Facebook, which, I went to TCU, obviously, as I've told you before. It's like the University of Texas's coach, came out and basically made a statement and said, hey, we can't have it both ways, white people. He's like, how can we cheer these kids on Friday, Saturday, Sunday, when they're going out there high-fiving each other when they make a touchdown or they make a good throw or catch or run, tackle, whatever. But then, but then if we see them in the office on Monday, how does that look? And we can't, and we don't, we don't like them. We don't talk to them. We don't want to socialize with them. Or we look at this issue and we have a problem with this issue. Like, then it was like we're basically hypocrites because we're cheering them for them on one day, then the next day we turn around and not.
Yep.
So I think that was a really good and telling statement, obviously, of his heart and the type of person he is, which makes me sad because they're a rival to us. So I'm still have to root for them anyway now because of that. But I think that's a telling statement, and because people, I mean, Alabama, like think about the state of Alabama, right? Like that hasn't, and Louisiana, Mississippi, Georgia, et cetera. Those states haven't historically been, the most friendly to people of color in depending on part of history. But they'll pack a stadium with 100,000 fans every weekend to go cheer for a team that is, probably majority Black, or half,
Yep.
But then the next day, they might say something that is detrimental to that. So, you got to seek out the knowledge, seek out the truth from people who are trying to just handle it the right way, be on the right side of history, and seem like they have a contrite spirit.
Wow. Well, speaking of sports and the like, how do you feel about Roger Goodell and Drew Brees' latest statements?
I didn't see Drew Brees' latest statement. I saw his initial statement, then his apology.
Yeah, well, those two, those particular two.
I saw that, right? And at first I saw it initially, I thought about you because I was like, I know how big of a Saints fan you are. Bruh. And I was like, your boy Drew Brees is like, what's going on? Like Drew Brees, every time you see him, like he's doing something like great for the community, donating millions of dollars, et cetera, et cetera. But like, how could he just be so tone deaf? Is what I've heard people say, on this specific issue, especially because like he plays with and is so close with so many people of color, lives in Louisiana, is where the population is, heavy people of color. Like how could you just be, somebody who seems like you're just sort of not even like seeing that there was an issue. I was really shocked, and I was not surprised about the apology is an understatement, just because it seems like anytime somebody, is called out on something, it seems like an apology the next day, like snap of a finger, right? But how much did he actually mean by apologizing? I don't know. We've said this before. We have family, we have friends who have been military, have been law enforcement, you know what I'm saying? At many different levels. And we know that support those people who are doing that, who are doing it the right way. You know what I'm saying? Who aren't the bad apples. But, there's still an opportunity to question the people who are bad apples. There's still that thing, that is, that's a thing. So I thought it was very insensitive of him at first and careless. And I'm glad he apologized. Hopefully he had some really good conversations and got a nice long phone calls and text streams with some of his teammates and other people he knows, that he's played with throughout his time, to get him back on track. And then Roger Goodell, didn't he say that they are now gonna, they're now gonna sort of shift the way that they've been handling the protest wrong, right?
That's what he says. I don't know. I just say both of those statements, him and Drew Brees' apology.
Mm-hmm.
I just think that's some PR type BS, man.
Mm-hmm.
I still think Drew Brees is, as much as I love the Saints, I got a Brees jersey.
Mm-hmm.
Even contemplating putting it on eBay and stuff.
Don't you go and burn
after
it.
That.
Don't you go and burn it.
I paid too much money for that thing.
Yeah.
Trying to make some money back. Yeah, so those, like you said, I think Drew Brees is just tone deaf about it. And I know a lot of people have called him racist online. I think it's a bit of a stretch right there.
I definitely think so too.
But tone deaf as to what the problem is, why, Kaepernick started kneeling in the first place.
Mm-hmm.
I think it just went way over his head, and I've seen like all the people on his team like posting up stuff and saying they called him and tried to talk to him. Saw Shannon Sharp said he called him and had a long conversation with him.
Yeah.
But that apology that he gave, that just sounded like somebody, his PR team was like, hey, you
better apologize.
You need to fix these words and stuff like that.
Yeah.
As far as Goodell, I don't know, man. There's something about him. I don't take his words for. I just don't believe him.
Well, this is the other thing. Of course, since all of this has come out, since the protests have started, we come to find out from a former NFL executive that yes, the owners did, purposely not hire Colin Kaepernick because they thought it would affect their bottom line, because of their season ticket holders, and their fan base would hate. Right. This is the thing, though. This is what I say. And this is what my wife said. She was like, the problem with that is you always have thousands of other people who want to buy those season tickets, thousands of other people who want to fill those seats. So what does it matter if some of your season ticket holders say, I don't want to come here. I don't want to buy my season, renew my season tickets because you hired this guy. Regardless of the situation, you still gonna have other people who gonna buy it and be like, either who don't care, that he's doing it, or people who do care, that he's doing it. And also, if nobody knew it, like Colin Kaepernick, he coordinated that protest with with the ex-Green Beret, somebody in the military, which he had also, been documented how well he supports the military. So, yeah, so it just always smelled weird, always sort of funky. And yeah, man, I don't know, I don't know how much you can trust, like you said, how much you can trust Goodell's words just the same, just because is he telling the truth or not? Who knows?
Yeah. So if you were Kaepernick at this time and somebody called and say, hey, we want you to come play for blase, would you be like, cool, that sounds good? Or would you be like, nah, I'm good?
I mean, if I guess I don't know what his level of interest in football is still. I think that if there's an opportunity there, and he still wants to play, even if he's going to be a backup, because that's what it would be. He'd be probably have to be a backup to start. I would go do it because on his end, I know he, may still be getting some endorsements from Nike and places like that. But, in order to further his movement, further his voice, he can do that. And it is what it is. Now, obviously, you're going to have to travel to stadiums where there's fans who don't like you, and maybe even your own team's fans, some of them may not like you, but, and that's the case with anything. But, I might still play. I might go back and play, or I might say, hey, I'm not going to play, but, I want to help lead the task force for the league to try to, create more education about this among the players, among the owners and other executives, and among fans, and that would be a good alternative if he didn't want to play. Right. And he could just work, with the league and try that. But I think that league office portion is probably gone by the wayside now, unless they have a major change of heart within the office, and a change of position. So what do you think? Would you?
No, I tell him to take that contract and shove it up there. Yeah.
Yeah. This is the thing.
I mean, it's like it's too late. Like we gotta have more deaths just for you to see what I was talking about. Yeah. And it's like no amount of money can bring these people back.
Oh no.
And I'll let you go ahead with your statement. There was something I wanted to kind of spin off on this, but go ahead. That's what I'd have to say about that.
Yeah. I mean, I was just gonna say, like, that definitely makes sense. At that point, it's sort of too late, even though, he explained what he was doing in the beginning. But yeah, that makes sense. It definitely makes sense.
Let's see. Damn, what was I gonna say? I just lost my train of thought. Anyway, so with all that, we got. What do you think? Okay, well, let's say this: protests. We got protests that are happening across the world that we see. Or are they happening in your neck of the woods as well?
Oh yeah, they're happening in Salt Lake. I think Spike Lee actually had a Facebook post recently of like, I see my brothers and sister in Utah are protesting. How many black people are in Utah? And I wanted to reply back. I put my hand up, but I didn't. But there's still protests every day, and thankfully they're peaceful now after they've gotten all the riffraff out.
Okay, so how do you feel about, like, I guess all the protests that are going on? I mean, obviously, like for me, I see everybody's talking about like peaceful protests, and obviously you have those incidents where it's got out of hand, and then you have to ask yourself, is there a right or wrong way to protest?
I guess there's not a right or wrong way, because there have been violent protests, that have caused action. There's been a lot of peaceful protests. I personally believe that I think peaceful protests are better than violent protests, because I think more people listen when you're not doing something violent, but I know the benefit. I know that there's been benefits to both, right? I do believe that the protests have probably contributed to the spike of, coronavirus cases popping up again in several parts of the country. But I think there's people who are out there who are like, willing to risk that, to go to the nth degree to protest. So, I do stand with the protest, but I think I stand more on the peaceful side, because like I said, I can't remember if I told you earlier, if I told you offline before we got on here, it was, maybe it was earlier. It was, every news station is streaming live with a reporter or something that's happening, in the protest. And then as you watch the live stream, you see people's comments pop up, and they're like watching these people burn cars and flip things and riot and loot. And you see all the comments come out. But then when the protests are peaceful, you see a lot less negative reaction, And I think when the protests became peaceful, I think that's when more people were willing to listen. But that hasn't worked every time, because I know that there's been peaceful protests in a lot of different situations, and it hasn't always worked. So that's my take. What do you think?
Yeah, I hear you. No, I mean, I think both of them are direct. I mean, like a protest. What is a protest? A protest is it's like an emotional response to something going on, something that you're trying, some kind of change that you want to see what's happen. No matter, I guess, whatever subject matter is. I feel like a lot of these protests that have become, I guess, violent, are the result of some people getting within that protest doing something, and they really don't care what the protests are about.
Yeah.
You know, there's people that, like, I've been seeing online a lot, you know, people that are kind of like, just, you know, you and me, you know, regular folks getting out there, you know, filming the protests. I saw like quite a few videos, especially one here in Dallas, where somebody strategically planted a whole pile of bricks where the protests would be coming through, and there was no construction in sight, no nothing.
Oh, wow.
It's just a pile of bricks waiting there for people to use. There was
Wow.
I'm pretty sure you've seen something where there was this police car that the protesters, I'll use my air quotes, protesters, lit on fire. It's like, why is a police car just sitting in the middle of a road with no other policemen around?
Oh yeah. I mean, I think I've seen that in Atlanta and Minnesota, here in Utah. I think I don't know. In some cases, I think I think it's a trap. Because the policemen, like, if they, you know, there's going to be videos of stuff, which I've seen posted on the local stations. Can you identify these people? A, it's a trap. And B, I think it's one of those things where this is the thing you're mad at. Here, we're just going to put it here, let you guys break it. So, you know what I'm saying? So you can get like some of that frustration out. So I think it's a trap, but then I also think but then I think that also stokes the anger of people who are anti-protest. Yeah, I don't know. I've seen that. You know, I didn't see the bricks. Like, that's sort of crazy. But I have seen the police fires and other things like that, which have caused things. I've also seen people like the guy who showed up here with a bow and arrow to try to shoot a bow and arrow at somebody, and sort of got dealt with on the street. Then they flipped his car and burned it, and it was just some random dude. But then what
did he say happened to him?
Yeah, he said he got beat up by a bunch of black people. You know,
he say there was a couple African American blacks, you know, punched him, and they were not in that video. I mean, it was like more, I guess, white folks.
Yeah, it was a lot of people. Yeah,
you know, it was a guy with a skateboard.
Yeah,
I mean, how you gonna single out two African Americans?
But then
to do that to you.
Yeah, the good thing is there was video evidence of what happened there in that situation, and you know, and also that same guy, apparently he was like threatening people with a machete, you know, just before that, you know, and then or maybe after that, I can't remember, but the crazy thing is he was detained by the police, he was arrested, right, and then he was let go later on.
Yeah, of course.
You know, and then the video came back out. So I think they put out another search for him. They're like, do you know this man? You know, we need to file charges. But we're like, didn't you just detain him? Like, don't you know his records? Like, don't you know his name, where he lives, et cetera? Especially since he had to give a statement that he said that two African-American blacks were the ones who attacked him. But no, if you watch the video, you see that he, you know, was yelling from his car, got out of his car, you know, on his own volition, and did that. Nobody was like busting, you know, pushing his car. People were just walking by, you know. So, it's rough, man. It's crazy. But you know, you see people out there saying that they're going to do stuff, you know, and thankfully, you know, there hadn't seemed to be a lot of that. And then there's people who will go out there and try to do something and get messed with. But I also think with those protests, you know, there's there's been planted, riot actors and protest actors, because that's a thing.
Yeah.
People just going out there just to do stuff. And then, whatever the production company that hires them will just pay for their bail. And then there's also been, people who are anti the protest decide to show up, dress in black, spray paint things, with all the bad word or all the things that, all the hashtags and everything that are popular, and start breaking stuff, with their skateboards or push police, etc. I mean, there's been several occasions where you've seen like police. I think they said there was a couple of police who were protesters, or who were those rioters, But actually, that's they're actually a cop, and they were there just causing trouble. Like, at least that's what I've seen. I don't know how true.
Yeah.
So it's crazy, man. It's crazy. It's all a big bunch of crazy.
This whole year's just full of
and
crazy.
Just and on my side, man, I'm just like praying that I've seen where they say the protests are going to try to come to the suburbs, and then so there's people in the suburbs who are all scared, but if it's just a peaceful protest, that's different from something that gets violent,
Right.
I'm just praying that the craziness stays away from my house, from my neighborhood. That's all I got to say. Yeah. And,
wow.
And even in the old neighborhood that we lived in, that I said, was, high percentage of white people, they had some silent or peaceful vigils, peaceful protests, during this time frame that actually, were peaceful. So it's been, it's been an interesting ride depending on where you are, I say.
Yeah. How do you think, or feel about, I've seen this, I'm trying to see if it's 100% true, but Trump scheduled his Juneteenth
I saw that
rally. I guess it'll be held on Juneteenth and in Tulsa. How do you feel? I don't know, man. I think this dude is completely tone deaf.
Senile.
He's senile. I don't know what other adjectives I could describe him by, but
the crazy thing is we've gone this whole episode now over an hour and still haven't even talked about that guy. And he's been saying and tweeting and doing crazy stuff this whole time between the pandemic and all the recent stuff. And at first it seemed like he was on the right side saying, hey, there needs to be justice for George Floyd. And then I swear it was a day or two later, he was saying other stuff, the opposite. First of all, we know he purposely set his thing up on Juneteenth. We know that. Come on. Everybody has to know that. And in the South, you have to know that. Has to be that was a purposeful, directed, I guess, attempt at him to sort of buck, what society, the direction society is trying to take everybody in, the right direction. I think it's crazy. I think we've had this discussion on many episodes, from the beginning of his presidency, that we think that he doesn't know what he's doing or talking about, et cetera. I mean, hey, I've never been a politician. I've never been a president or anything like that. So I can't say that I would know exactly what to do, but I know that I would probably do the right thing in every situation. And I don't think that's the right thing in this situation.
No. Oh, man. Wow. Yeah, he's just too much. I think we could probably dedicate a whole episode just to him, but I don't want to do that.
No. Yeah, it's crazy. I think that this is where I think people need to pay attention. There's a lot of places people need to pay attention. But when you see people from his own party, his own side, that are going against what he's saying, refuting what he's saying, calling him out, that's what you sort of need to pay attention to. He had I think he had a press conference where he said that he was getting phone calls from hundreds of governors. I'm sorry, how many states do we have?
Hundreds of them?
Yeah, wow. Hundreds of governors. How many states do we have? And I think it was about protests everywhere. I think it's also interesting that, I sent my wife this picture, and I found it somewhere online, and it was There's a picture. The caption said, "See the difference," and on the top was our current president walking in, it seemed like in front of the White House, just straight down and a sort of an aisle, and on either side there was like armed guards and military, et cetera, right. People who look militarized, and he was just walking by himself. And then the bottom half of the picture was our previous president, President Obama, walking hand in hand with his wife and kids, and tons of people around them, gathered around them, walking in the same direction. So it was like, you see the difference. You see, and I know Obama wasn't perfect. I'm not saying that he was, but where some people say that he tore the country apart, I think there's been a lot more separation with the current administration.
Oh, definitely. I honestly, and it's bad for me to think this. Mm-hmm. I really think we're probably going to end up getting 4 more years of this dude.
I don't know, man.
Think that. I don't know. Yeah. I'm just saying. I don't know. He's kind of. I just see too much. He's very sneaky. I think he's all the crap he says in the media and the news and on Twitter makes him look really dumb. But I think he's pretty strategic in a lot of ways. He tries to be pretty strategic. And of course we have Joe Biden coming up. He's the obvious other person to vote for. Yeah. And his last statements that he said, with Charlemagne kind of put a bad taste in everybody that's black. They really don't see him in any good light at this point in time, no matter how much he tries to clear it up.
Yeah, because didn't he say? Maybe I'm paraphrasing, but didn't he basically say like, "You're not black if you vote for Trump"? Isn't that what he said?
Yeah, pretty much. That's pretty much what he said.
Yeah, I mean that. I think this is my take on that, which I believe that he shouldn't have said that. That's the first thing I got to say. I don't think he should have said that. But I do have to say this. If you look at the divisiveness that our current president has put out there, if you look at, how little he has tried to stop this, new wave of racism, like, it's almost like you can't disagree with him too much. Like, of course he shouldn't have said it. It was a stupid statement. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. And I know there's people of every color that have all kinds of different belief systems, and political views, et cetera. But if you look at it from a certain perspective, you could say, well, I mean, it sort of makes sense. It's not true, obviously, but it sort of makes sense. I think what he was trying to say was, I don't know exactly what he was trying to say, but I think what he was trying to say was more like, he doesn't like your kind, he doesn't stand for your kind because of all this evidence. So why would you want to vote for him compared to you're not black if you vote for him?
Yeah, it was just a extremely poor choice of words.
Oh, it was bad. It's horrible.
Yeah. So, I mean, so we're going to see, I really want to see what these debates, do they even do debates? They do debates, right?
Yeah, they do debates.
Sometime.
Yeah, they do debates.
I don't know when they're going to start because election is in November. Mm-hmm. What do? They start in August or September sometime? That's pretty.
Yeah, I think they just do them for a couple of months leading up to it. I think in times past, I can't remember, but what is it? I think what they do is like in the early fall or late summers when they have their political party convention, and then that's when they nominate whoever, and that's when I think the debates start, really going down. But I think this, man. I think it's the whole thing is an unfortunate situation. Everything since, I don't know, the end of December or beginning of January when this virus started to spread, and then all the subsequent stuff that's happened on top of the virus with the lockdowns, and then with more senseless killings of people of color. And so all this stuff is happening now. All these people right now are registering to vote, and they have this momentum that they want to make changes and make a change. But will they keep that momentum up? How long will this momentum last? How long will they last with this same sentiment? Or will they just get tired and just forget about it, or not want to go vote because the lines are too long or something like that whenever the voting time comes around? Because that's when you have, that's when you make a difference, apparently, is when you go vote. Problem is too that I don't know that we have an independent candidate that could even hold a candle to the momentum that the two normal parties have.
Yeah. I hear you.
Like this is what I'm saying. Like, wouldn't it be crazy? Well, I don't know what would happen if Bernie Sanders ran as the independent, right? Would that take too many votes away from someone? I mean, would that be more favorable to our current president and take too many votes away from the side that's trying to make a change?
Well, it's interesting because you never know, because they would have to get on a stage and talk about it.
Mm-hmm.
Like, they need to, because people are they're not gonna research like independent stuff unless it's like, in your face.
Mm-hmm.
They'd have to see that particular person in their face on the panel, talking about whatever issues, because if it's just a Democrat and a Republican there that get invited to these debates,
yeah,
then nobody's going to know what an independent candidate would have to say about a particular issue.
Very true.
So, Bernie could do it if they put him on the stage. If all three of them got on the stage or asked the same questions, I think that would give America the deciding factor of who they'd want to choose.
Yeah.
But I don't think a lot of people didn't really. Well, I know a lot of people who didn't have faith in Bernie solely because he was an older candidate.
Mm-hmm.
That's like the only reason why a lot of people didn't have faith in him.
I mean, how much older is he though than Trump and Biden?
That's what I'm saying. They just because he looks old. They're all like in their 70s, right?
Yeah.
So
the thing is, I guess what's so crazy is I guess it depends on how the media skews it and how people share it and skew it, or how influencers skew it. I think, I don't know. I've had some discussions or listened to my brother who has, some very conservative views, and about certain things, and there's he's always talked about the media, skewing things. And this is the thing, man, me having gone to college, for journalism, and wanting to be a part of the media at that time, and doing some stuff in that realm, I can understand it. I can understand on both sides, I can understand that obviously, whatever TV channel you listen to or watch or, frequent the most, you're probably going to believe a lot of that stuff that they say, compared to people who are on the alternative side. So it's all dependent on who skews what, how, and who says this is our hero, so we're going to champion him, right. and it's, it's just one of those things, man. You just have to. It's so hard right now. Maybe now more than ever. It's so hard right now to really get the truth from those situations.
Yeah.
And maybe not. I don't know. Maybe there's more transparency now. I don't know. But it just seems like it's always hard, and people are always telling you what you want to hear, until they get into that office, and then they say, all right, well, now that I'm here, I get to do what I want.
Yeah.
Wow. So I don't know. I do not know.
So let's see how I'm going to ask this question. I was gonna say what with all these protests, and there's no telling, and it's still going on, just because I think a lot of news media isn't really covering it as much, but it's still going on in a lot of places. I'm trying to ask myself, what is it exactly that we want from the protest? Like, what's the end goal? That's what I always ask myself. What is the end goal? Obviously, the obvious end goal is justice for these particular acts, swift justice for these acts that have been committed by law enforcement. But is that particular thing honestly going to change an officer that has I don't really want to put a racist view, but kind of like trying to use his authority to kind of control a particular situation? Is that going to happen? Is these protests going to prevent another officer from doing something crazy to another black person?
I don't think so. I don't think so, because I think I just saw a story earlier today of, a person of color being shot, apparently because he was,
Atlanta, right?
Yeah, because he was resisting arrest, but the report was, I guess, they called and reported he was sleeping in his car, which is similar to this Breonna Taylor thing. I don't think so. I don't think it's going to stop it totally. I don't. I do believe that, there's just in every profession. Every profession, there's bad apples. There just is. It's just the truth behind it. So I think there's that. I do think that it will help slow it down, or it may stop it, or it may change, the mind or the reaction or whatever one person does, rather than what they might have done before it, because it's less empowering now. I do also think that from seeing this, there's several states that are enacting this law. Particularly do with law enforcement, was, sort of a duty to intervene law, which says, like, in this situation, say that one of those four cops with, Mr. Floyd, one of those four cops was like, this isn't right. Or maybe another bystander cop or somebody driving by was like, oh, what are you doing? Like, they could stop and try to stop it and say, hey, what are you doing? This is right. That's abuse of power, excessive force, etc. So, so I don't think it's going to stop it. I do think that it's going to help slow it down. But there's just, like I said, there's bad apples everywhere. There's, obviously a lot of police officers who think the protests are silly, or who are turning sort of a blind ear to it, who are mad about the whole situation, and just because somebody is protesting police brutality doesn't mean they don't like cops. They don't, just because they're doing that doesn't mean they don't respect the job that they do. But they're just trying to fight against the people who we have seen time and time again do these things and get off scot-free.
Yeah. I'm sure there's a lot of cops out there that have recently did something wrong. I don't even know the results or what it's looking like for the whole Breonna Taylor incident. I can't. I hadn't looked it up because everything is kind of like flooded over her situation. But it's still bad. But I want to know what happened with that. There's another incident that happened right outside New Orleans. What was that? A couple weeks ago, where a cop mistakenly thought this guy's cell phone was a gun, shot him down.
Wow.
We didn't. Not a lot of people heard about that, but that happened. So I'm curious to know what's the law, and I'm assuming it's different in every single city, but I'm wondering what happens to these people. Do they get a slap on the wrist and say, go home for a few weeks or something, and you could keep your pay? Do they get fired? What happens?
Yeah.
I saw there was I think it was a sheriff or a chief of police. I can't remember what state it was or what city, that said that he was welcoming all cops who have been fired for some type of disciplinary issue with with a citizen or civilian or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like you said, there's crazy bad cops, bad apples in everywhere. I think the cops should start holding the cops accountable. So
Yeah.
like those good cops should start, if you see something, say something. They
Mm-hmm.
always tell us that at our job. You see something, say something.
Yeah.
But I think like many people say, it's like this fraternity of, there's this brotherhood with the, that shield. They gotta stick up for one another. Nobody wants to say anything. And they may be scared. I don't know. I'm not a cop.
Mm-hmm.
I couldn't tell you. My dad was a cop,
Mm-hmm.
but I couldn't tell you what it was like back then. I think the majority of his police force were black, so I don't know what went on back then. I never really talked to him about it or asked him about that type of thing.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know, man.
Yeah.
I don't know where it's going to lead to in the future.
Yeah.
What the protests are going to lead to.
Yeah. I don't know, man. I mean, obviously there'll be more awareness about it, and hopefully, hopefully there's more and more cities or more states that start, going, I guess, start listening and start, taking positive actions. And, and this will affect, black people. It'll affect Mexican people. It'll affect, anybody, Asian people, affect anybody who is not, necessarily white. And it'll probably affect white people in a positive way too. It's just how you look at it, and and how you view it, and how how open you are to actually making a negative situation a positive situation. It's hard to try to figure that out all the time, but that's really what it's all about. Yeah, man. I don't know, man. There's a lot. There's a lot. Obviously, there's a long way to go. And it's not going to be perfected overnight. But I think there's positive, momentum right now. So hopefully it stays, the same. And yeah, like I said, hopefully more states, start enacting positive laws. And then even like New York, has decided to pass a law, where you can't just call on a person of color just because they're like standing there, whatever, like the lady who called about the guy who told her to put her dog on a leash,
Yeah.
So
it's just silly. That was stupid.
Yeah.
Stupid folks. Wow.
Yeah. So.
Well, I saw something interesting. I mean, I guess with everything going on with race relations, or did you see anything about the Robert Johnson, the founder of BET, calling for a $14 trillion slavery
reparations?
Yeah.
For who? For all the black people or BET?
Yeah, for all the black people.
Wow.
They did a breakdown to where it would be like, I don't know, somewhere around, let's see, I guess somewhere close to 200,000 per family or something like that.
Wow.
Yeah.
I mean, I haven't heard that, but then my question is that for if both the people in the couple are black, or is that just like, is that like per person, or is just like if there's one, then it's just for the whole family?
That's great
crazy.
Question.
So
I think it may just. I think I saw something. Let's see if I can find this. Where they were trying to do a breakdown, maybe just the descendants of slaves. Because obviously there's shit. That's a tough one, because obviously there's a lot of people that have come over here from other countries, but then that's a completely separate issue in itself. Like whether you have like people from, people from like West Indies or somewhere in the Caribbean, how they track that, even though that was known slavery, a one-stop shop, one stop for slave traders. people from South America.
Mm-hmm.
How does all that break down? You got a bunch of different spider webs and little things coming off that you got to kind of factor in. A bunch of different factors. I don't know. But it was just a proposal that he had said.
Yeah.
I highly doubt it's going to happen. People still have issues with giving black folks reparations.
Yeah.
It's very, very interesting. I mean, I know they gave I think it was the LGBT community reparations.
Did they really?
I'm not sure. Yeah, I can't remember when this was. I could be. I don't know how much it was. Gay reparations. This was. Yeah, so it was something like I can't remember what it was, but I see a lot of links and stuff to this particular thing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they talked about that. Obviously, can't say obviously. Native Americans got something.
Mm-hmm.
What, I don't know. They're still reduced down to reservations, which is pretty stupid.
Yeah.
But black folks, it's still like a taboo thing to talk about giving, for the government to even consider reparations.
Yeah. Yeah. I think that'd be difficult. I think that's cool that he asked for that, but I think it's going to be extremely difficult because then there's going to be a whole nother set of riots and protests on the opposite side, right?
Of course.
And that doesn't mean that people are going to go protest in the hood, because I definitely don't think that's going to be the case. But maybe it will be in some cases. But I think that's going to lead to more protests on the opposite side and people asking why, even though they already know why. They should know why. If they don't, then they just haven't listened to anything in the past, how many ever years. But I think that would be difficult. I think that. I don't know if this makes sense, but I think that if Obama didn't get that ball rolling, then it's going to be a lot harder to happen. You know what I'm saying? While he was a president, I just think it'd be difficult for that to actually go down and how that would play out. And then this is the other thing that would happen if that happened. I think there would be, I think, people of color would suffer the consequences. I think black people would suffer consequences, and people would be, there would be more violence toward them, I think.
Yeah.
Because they're like, why do you do?
A lot of jealousy.
Yeah. Why do you? Issues, yeah. And there would be a lot of people saying, why are we getting punished today for what our forefathers did back then? And it's a debate on both sides, because right now, people think they're getting punished for the racism that started a long time ago that's been, put in place. There's a lot of things. So I think it'd be hard for that to happen. It'd be one of the most difficult decisions, to get past ever, I think. So.
Okay. So this article I'm looking at from the Washington Examiner says Senator Elizabeth Warren, and this was June of last year, reintroduced a bill on the campaign trail this week, which could mean $57 million in tax refunds for married LGBT couples. So, this article pretty much talks about, as far as tax refunds, a bill that was introduced like in 2013, the Refund Equality Act.
Wow.
Would allow LGBT couples who were married prior to 2013, amend tax refunds from time they were married. So prior to 2013, 10 states had legalized same-sex marriage, but were required to file their federal taxes as individuals. So that's one thing they were talking about for reparations.
Wow.
And I have absolutely no issues with it. Have no issues with any of it. It's just black folks are always down at the bottom.
Yeah.
For some reason.
Yeah. And then like I saw this story on Facebook today. Being in Utah, it's local, more local probably than national. I don't know if you'd seen this, but I saw Karl Malone, former NBA basketball player, like made a statement that black people need to stop looking for handouts.
Oof. Oh boy.
I was like, where did that come from, Karl? But and I don't know exactly. I didn't read through it. I just saw it and I was like, what? Um, but you know, I don't know that in this situation, black people are looking for a handout. You know,
Right.
I think they're looking for, equality. Now, when it comes to like asking for reparations, that's probably more of a handout than not. But I think there's more reason around it as well. Um, but I just thought that was odd, to
Yeah.
hear from the mailman.
That is. I mean, there's been some black celebrities that have said some questionable things these past couple weeks.
Hmm.
We're not getting into the Terry Crews or the Candace Owens or
Oh man,
you know some of the other people that have said sketchy stuff. I mean, I'm not surprised by Candace Owens' statements, but
hmm
but I do shout out people like John Boyega, who have
hmm
stood up and said quite a lot.
hmm
You know, uh, who else? Michael B. Jordan has got up and protest and walked and said, gave speeches and things like that. There's been quite a few
yeah,
that have did that.
yeah,
Um, quite a few celebrities that have did something along those lines. No matter what their outcome could be in the Hollywood.
hmm
So they went ahead and made their statements about it. But yeah, so shout out to all of them. Yeah. What else we gonna talk about?
Wow, man, this.
I mean, I know this subject could go on for a while,
Yeah,
but
yeah, we've been obviously been on a really long time. What have you? So I know that when this all started, the Call of Duty Warzone came out, the video game, and you started playing some of it. Uh,
yeah, just a little
had
bit.
you had you have you played much at all?
I played enough to get to, I guess, a nice little ranking,
Hmm.
but it's been well over a month since I even turned my Xbox on.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Same here, man. This is what's happened. Like my son has played a lot. Um,
Oh
my
boy.
son has played a lot more than I have, and I mean, it's several hours a day type of thing. And now it's the summer, and their school hasn't enacted any kind of like summer school, like this is what you need to do, because we still don't know what we're going to do with the summer as well. Um, so yeah, he's gotten a lot more playtime, and then by the time he's done, anybody that I would normally play with, like my friends out of town, you obviously, it's normally like into the we are not wee hours in the morning, but it's much later. Like you guys are probably in bed or putting your kids to sleep or whatever, and you're not playing anymore. So
Right.
I need to take back control at some point and play a little bit more, and hop in them games. Other problem is like during this whole time, he has a couple of friends that he'd play with more than anyone else, and their parents have allowed them to play Call of Duty Warzone and some other games like that, whereas we won't.
Yeah.
We're just like the closest you're getting at is like Fortnite. So you know,
Yeah. Yeah. My kids have actually gone on to play Halo.
yeah,
They're just playing, fighting aliens. And,
yeah,
obviously it's not a realistic setting as Call of Duty
yeah,
Warzone, but, it's still like a lot of guns and, violence and stuff. But
yeah,
they play that, but they play Minecraft most of the time. So, yeah,
yeah, yeah.
I don't think I'm going to let them do anything super, like that. Even though I can't even speak for our childhood because we didn't have anything that's realistic
Hmm.
in our
Yeah,
childhood.
not at all, not at all, not even close. And that's the thing. I've played some games with my son. I've played some Fortnite with him, even though I'm terrible. I played a little bit. And I've played a lot of Minecraft with him and some other games, and yeah, I even tried to get him into playing Halo because I have that game still, but he hasn't really wanted to play that much. Um, so I don't know, man. I'm just trying to. I'd like to get back in and play a little bit more, just because it would be more of a norm because I did that a lot more before this.
Right.
But, sometimes I don't want to start playing at 12 o'clock at night, after we have the kids to bed, and that's,
Yeah.
because you get in, you start playing for a couple hours. Next thing you know, it's like 2 a.m. and then you're like right back to not being able to wake up early enough, so yeah. Yeah. So it is, I don't know. It's crazy, but it is what it is. I'm trying. And yeah, man. So that's that. Hopefully maybe we can get some time to play at some point in time soon. So be down for that.
Definitely.
Anyway.
Definitely.
Yeah. Anyway. Other than that, we do have a lot of voicemails that we had, and I think they're all from our Memphis correspondent, Kayla Stevenson, Memphis Steven 99, and we thank her for those voicemails. So yeah, do we want to just play them all and write it out?
Let's just go through all of them. I know one of them is it's some pretty sad news, but we'll play it and get through it.
Yeah. All right. And guys, this is going back to April 10th. So this has been several voicemails in. So we don't know. We haven't listened to these as far as I know. So we'll just turn them up and start playing. First one. 3, 2, 1.
What's up, #Blackout Podcast? This is Memphis Diva 99. Oh, okay, yeah. Coming from Memphis. I tell you, this quarantine is getting on my damn nerves. I'm working from home on an itty-bitty laptop that the company gave us. And I tell you, it's getting on my damn nerves. It seems like I get in trouble every week for something. And I'm sick of this quarantine. My bike is in the shop still. And it's just, I live alone, but I'm going crazy. I'm eating a lot. I'm trying to stop that. But I am getting a lot of sleep, I will say. It just sucks right now. I just don't know. I just called to say hey, and I'm here. Nothing's interesting going on except my neighbors next door who have parties every day, and I think somebody done called the law on them because all of a sudden they have stopped. I will talk to you guys later. I am going to find me some minced garlic to put on my scrimp. Have a good one.
All right. That was April 10th. So then we heard from her about a month later, it looks like. So here we go.
#Blackout Podcast. Guess who it is? Your long lost cousin, Memphis Diva 99. Y'all, life has taken over and been whooping my butt. I am just getting over, still kind of going through some stuff, but 2 weeks ago I was diagnosed with type 2 diabetes. One day I woke up and I could not see. Then my eyesight came back. The next day I was like, oh, it ain't nothing. Then I started having to go to the bathroom every 30 minutes. I was like, oh, I'm drinking too many sodas. Then I started stumbling, getting confused at work. They got me working from home. Simple things I would just forget. And one day I was just looking bad. I was feeling bad. I was sleeping all the time. So I went to the doctor and my blood sugar was 566, which it was supposed to be 80 through 120 was supposed to be my glucose level. So I'm on insulin. I'm taking other medications, and my eyesight is back. And my eating habits have changed. No, nothing. I'll call y'all back though, in case this call. But I can't eat fast food, processed food, potato chips, soda, wine, girly drinks, corn, no starch. Fruit is limited too. I'll call you back.
Damn.
Wow.
That sucks.
Yep.
That's bad. Sorry to hear that.
Yeah, definitely. Here we go. Waiting for this to load up. Yeah, that's definitely extremely sad. Okay. Come on. Here we go.
It's me, Memphis Diva 99 again, y'all. So I just fixed this beautiful, healthy grilled chicken salad. That's what I eat a lot, salads, baked foods, baked salmon, baked vegetables, water. And so I put some smoky burn on my grilled chicken. Oh, wait. Hooks, rubs, and spices. Hooks, spices, and rubs. Hooks. Y'all know what I'm talking about. And I'm almost out of my smoky burn. Hint, hint, hint. That's all I'm going to say. Help save a life. But anyway, I'm cooking up, different ideas, and baked food is my new friend. I can't even have bread. Yeah. I did sneak a burger about 4 days ago, and it made me sick, but it was the best burger in the world. And I did have a fajita, a steak fajita, but I didn't have the beans and the rice and the little fajita thing. I just told them, give me salad and give me some extra avocado. So, y'all, it's a life change. It really is. I can drink white, dry wine, and it's nasty. It tastes like gas. I guess gas tasted like that, it would. And I can have vodka. But I can't have sugar, nothing right now. I can eat a little fruit, like 15 grapes. But not for me. What y'all been doing? What COVID? I blame this on COVID. That's who I blame this on. Because I was at home and just eating and stuff. Okay, then. I'm going to call y'all back in a minute.
Well, all right. Same day. And yeah, I think that it seems like there's been a lot of people with health issues that have risen from, the quarantine of all different kinds.
Yeah.
So very sad. All right. Here we go. And yeah, I'm sorry, Kayla, but smoky burn is probably not the best option for you because there are sugars mixed into that. So you might want to stop using that, or hopefully you don't have any more. But yeah, it's not going to be a good option for you. Sorry about that. Here we go.
So it's me, Memphis Diva 99 again. What else been going on? What y'all been doing? How the kids? Life is different, isn't it, y'all? Wear masks. You used to go in the bank with a mask and wound up dead or in jail. Now you can go in the bank. Wait, can you go in the bank? Well, if you can go in the store with a mask, you can't go in the store in a mask. Well, you know what I'm talking about. But anyway, I have to take insulin too, y'all. Insulin shots. Never thought I'd have to deal with a needle. Interesting, but I'm doing good. My blood sugar is down to like 140, so I'm still working on some stuff. Yeah, I have to eat apples. They're Granny Smith apples. They're not too much sugar in them. But enough of me. I'm gonna call y'all back so we can talk about life events and stuff. Okay.
Wow. All right. So that was
insulin shots are tough.
Yep. So these are all these are May. I guess these last few have been May 13th. So she has a couple more.
Ciao. This is Mrs. Diva again. Tell me why we can't find no Clorox. The good Clorox. Peroxide. The white alcohol, you put on soil or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, tissue paper, the good tissue paper, sometimes you can find it, sometimes you can't. Lysol, sometimes you can find it. Why, y'all? Why? some stuff just don't make no sense. A lady went into the Family Dollar, one of my friends said, and bought all of the hydrogen peroxide. And she told the lady, hey, ma'am, you can't buy all this. You're not leaving any for the customers. She said, well, I'm buying this in case we get a hornet outbreak. Like, those killer hornets they're talking about. Have you seen that, y'all, the killer hornet? Them suckers big, too. And so I guess hydrogen peroxide supposed to cure it. Just like Cheeto Boy said, drink some Lysol or whatever he said. Just real.
Yeah, that's stupid.
And I don't even want to mention the killing, the young man. I'm to the point, I don't even want to look at the news too much, y'all. Mm-hmm. But anyways, I was just letting y'all know that I will be back with my weekly commentary about life, love. I called the police on my neighbors. We'll talk about that as my next topic.
All right, here we go. And that next call is here. Wait. Oh, I keep messing it up. There we go. Come on. Why is this not working? Here we go. Come on. There we go.
Okay, it's me again, Memphis Diva. Reason I'm calling y'all, I'm trying to catch y'all up with everything that's going on in my life. So, they got me working at home and stuff. All of us, really, working at home. And it's a little different. So, I wake up and I make my breakfast and I sit down in my little makeshift office in the kitchen. And my neighbor, this is 7 o'clock in the morning, I'm clocking in, and my neighbors are out there with music. Later on in the afternoon, it's like 30 of them barbecuing outside. I mean, they just having a ball. We're supposed to be practicing social distancing. So I called the social distancing number here in Memphis, and I reported them. Yeah, I did. And like 4 police cars came out, and everybody scattered, and it was just interesting because I was just tired. And if I got to practice it, y'all got to practice it. And so I called the police on them like 3 times. And they're so funny. They always say, Miss Kayla, somebody keep calling the cops on us. I said, well, what are y'all doing? Start practicing social distancing, you guys. And I don't feel bad about it either. And I don't. I swear I don't. I just don't. And they got some of these restaurants opening up and stuff. And I'm not coming out for maybe 30 days after all this stuff clears. But I got a feeling, I don't know. But anyway, I need y'all address and y'all shirt sizes because I got something for y'all. Okay, well I'm gonna talk to y'all later. This smoky burn is really good on my chicken, and I got a little smoky burn left. Hint, hint, hint.
Wow, dropping big hints, huh? All right, here we go. Next up.
Hey y'all, it's Memphis Diva 99 calling to say hi. I am home relaxing. My eyesight hasn't came back at 100. I cannot see close up right now. It has changed again. But hey, I'm watching TV with some bifocal reader glasses on until I can get back to the eye doctor. And I had a delicious non-sugar smoothie today with zinc and lime in it and vitamin C and all that good stuff. And I had half a chicken wrap with spinach in it. So I'm trying to take care of myself. What's up with the weather, y'all? We here in May and it's cool. It's 68, it's 70. It's just crazy. But I was calling to say hi, and please take care of yourself, fellas. Please make sure your loved ones are good. That's about it with me. I'm about to go outside and look at my motorcycle. Even may get on it today with my glasses on, but I don't know yet. Okay, bye.
Next up.
Hashtag Blackout Podcast. It's your cousin, Memphis Diva. Y'all, why why Lysol got me shot up on the expressway. That's all I got to say. I went on a Lysol run for my mama to go find her some Lysol, and I went out east and merging on the expressway. I'm thinking I hear some rocks or gravel, but all I'm hearing is a pop, pop, ting, ting, pull over, and somebody then shot up my car and two other people's cars. Apparently, we got caught in the crossfire. Well, I get home. I'm waiting on the police to come bring the crime scene, and my neighbors get to fighting while the police are out helping me. So they got to stop what they're doing and run to the neighbors. And Memorial Day was just pandemonic. Keep your asses in the house. So I got to replace my window on the back of me, by the passenger window of the driver's side on the back seat. Got to replace that. Got a nice little dent hole bullet. Apparently it was a guy shooting at somebody, and we just got caught in the crossfire. So I'm thankful I'm alive. I'm not supposed to be drinking due to the diabetes, but yeah, I had to give me a drink last night.
Yeah, that's crazy. I remember when she posted that she was shot at, or she got caught in the crossfire. So thankfully she was safe in that situation.
Hashtag Blackout Podcast. Sorry. I'm still waiting on my cooks, rubs, and spices because I'm on a special diabetical diet. But anyway, as I was saying, we got caught in the crossfire. Nobody got hurt. So I'm thankful for that. I'm just over this COVID. Why people act a fool? What's wrong? We had 15 shootings yesterday, 5 deaths, and, it's just sad. Memorial Day blues. And then you get me. And, but I'm okay. Nerves kind of shot right now. And, so how was your Memorial Day? What's been going on? Where y'all at? It's just been crazy. I don't know. Looks like we won't be going back to the office until the fall. And I hate my job, by the way. They're getting on my nerves. And so other than that, my bike is home. Dr. Phil got a chance to ride Dr. Phil good the other day. It was great. And now my vision is gone again. But I can't see close up, but I can see far away.
Wow.
Hey y'all, it's me, Memphis Diva 99, giving y'all a call. My dad, Willie, aka Ducko, passed on the 29th, and which was Friday. And I didn't see that one coming, but I knew my dad was sick. I'm not sure if have already talked to y'all and let y'all know, but he died peacefully, and we're trying to get it together, and it's just so much going on in the world. To anybody out there that's holding a grudge or angry at their relative, I don't care if it's your dad, cousin, sister, brother, mama, grandmama, auntie, friend, stop it. Because I got memories with my dad. Incredible memories. And he wasn't no saint, but he still was my dad. So I am going to get off this phone, and I will talk to you guys later. And I'm blacking out for a little while.
All right. So, yeah, wow. Definitely, and that was the last voicemail. So definitely, sorry for your loss there, Kayla.
Yes, condolences.
We know, I know you've called us many times and sort of talked about, having to take care of your dad, for what he had going on. So, definitely sending our condolences and prayers to y'all, for strength and healing during this time, especially with everything else, y'all got going on over there. So definitely sorry to hear that.
Yeah. If there's anything we could do, you already know to reach out to us. We've even though we hadn't been on in a few months to answer your voicemails, you could always reach out and contact us if there's anything you need.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, wow. So crazy. Well, yeah, so that's the end of the voicemails. Do you have anything else?
Oh man, nothing really. I know she asked a lot of questions with each voicemail. We talked about our families in the beginning of this podcast. Definitely, wow, I definitely know what she's talking about with the Lysol and finding hand sanitizer and things like that.
Yeah.
It's kind of weird talking about something light like that after hearing about a death. But yeah, everybody's doing good for the most part. We're just trying to manage, trying to stay sane in this crazy world we're currently living in.
Yeah, sure are, man. Sure are trying to stay sane, and we still don't have Lysol over here. I think there's a couple of Walmarts that's saying that they have Lysol or hand wipes, but I mean, as soon as they get in, they disappear. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, and with your health issues, definitely, I think definitely this whole situation is taking a toll obviously on you and a lot of people, mentally and physically. It really has. So definitely take care of yourself. Like I said earlier, smoky burn is not the best option. I think I might have to find something else for you. But yeah, that's not the best option. I'm not even making it right now just because I've wanted to change it for a long time. So don't even have it available, unfortunately, to send. But yeah, we'll see what we can get for you. But yeah, it's just, all kinds of stuff. We're all trying to make it however we can during this crazy time and not go completely nuts, while we're trying to slowly integrate ourselves back into whatever kind of normalcy is coming out of it. So yeah, but we appreciate the voicemails and the sentiment and your honesty during this whole time. So
right.
Yep. Yeah. Anyway, all right. Well, normally I guess we would finish with a tap your love box, but in this situation we probably won't. We won't do that, and we'll save that for the next episode. And yeah, so I guess on that note, blacking out. Thank y'all for listening.
And don't forget, contact.
Oh yeah, what am I talking about? I forgot about the whole thing. Sorry.
Yeah, and it's been a long time.
Yeah, it has. It has. Go ahead.
Twitter, Instagram, #BlackoutPod, iTunes, Stitcher, Google Play, Anchor, Spreaker, YouTube, SoundCloud. Unfortunately, I'm about to cancel that subscription. Maybe you'll be able to catch all the other episodes, starting from 1, probably on Google Play, maybe on Stitcher. I don't know. But yeah, SoundCloud, you'll probably be able to catch like 2 or 3 episodes, the latest ones. But yeah, just giving you guys a hint.
We could put a lot of those on Anchor.
Yeah, we can. Email us stuff. #blackoutpod@gmail.com. You can send us a voicemail, 3853-BLAKPC. That's 3853-252572. Definitely hit up the Hooks, Rubs, and Spices. Get yourself some Hooks Rubs. The Etsy.com/shop/Hooks Rubs and Spices. Or go to hooksrubs.com. Yeah. And also, something I've been wanting to do, I'm going to extend an invite to anybody listening to this episode or any of the shows that want to just come on. Tell us a story. Tell us your story. I think I'm curious to know how people are doing out there. Mm-hmm. Not just in quarantine land, but just amidst all this chaos we're living in.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, come on, let us know what you're doing, how things are in your neck of the woods, how you managing time during all this. I want to know. I'm curious to know.
Yeah.
Let's talk about it. So shoot us a DM or something, and if you want to be on. If not, we still appreciate you for listening. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So that's it.
Yeah, and that's it. I guess I'm blacking out officially now.
Yeah, I'm blacking out. I'll let y'all.
Yeah, gorgeous, like George's. The portrait of a summertime Georgia, maybe. Or an Alabama fall, made back against the wall at the mall. Crazy. Let's take it back to that Mercedes in front of the star. Steven put your baby on his shoulders like a chauffeur, and she told us exactly who you are. Very trill, known to carry revolutionary $20 bills. H-Town down. Yeah. They say we doing dirt, but we just break down ground. That's what happens when you sons of Mother Earth. Things you said reflected a love for the church, your fellow man and your brothers in the lurch. They be lurking, trying not to go berserk. The only way that they can express they hurt. Kinda like how I be doing with verse. From your birth to your reverse. I think they misheard your last piece of work. The last words of a good man, pure and unrehearsed. The shout heard round the world with your final breath. The last words right before you left were black. It's beautiful. I heard you say black. It's beautiful. We heard you say black. It's beautiful. We all heard you say black.
So Big Floyd, man, said, man, I'm back at it, man. Workout game, getting back on up, man. I went through some things, man. Had to bounce back, man. I'm just sharing right now. You know what I'm saying? Cause man, people quick to count you out, man, but just so strict on counting you in. One thing about old Floyd, man, I love the world. I ain't putting on ask anybody that know me, that they know me. Cause like people be acting like they be scared to embrace God, worrying about what the next man gonna say and all that. Man, you better get down. You know what I'm saying? Like, I ain't here to show out and all that. This here just to motivate somebody who wanna work out, that might need it, or whatever you're going through, man. Man, don't let Instagram fool you, man, and get you depressed looking at what other people doing and all that, man. I love you, man. Big Floyd, kill your own family. I'm go.